I was just at a wedding this last weekend, and the DJ, he train wrecked a couple times, but he was like a confident train wrecker. They don't even really know that they're train wrecking, and they just let it go. It's just like this never-ending mix. Like if I started train wrecking, I'm back spinning out of the record that was on.
Right.
They just had them both going like a solid 40 to 63 second train wreck. I'm like, yo. And obviously, none of the patrons even realize it, but I'm dying. I'm like, what the f*** is happening here? Yeah, so train wreck responsibly.
Well, all right. Battle raps because I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, because the ice on which they skating is so thin.
Welcome to the Party with Strategy podcast episode. I'm not sure after the Boy Genius fiasco, but we'll figure it out. Special guest today I'm excited to have and get to know better. We've been running into each other for a while, I feel like, but we've never really gotten each other's history. I feel like there's a lot to learn here, and I'm excited to have you. So thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
My man, the CEO of the Treble Monsters, KICE, in the building.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. What'd you do today?
Woke up. I usually wake up around like 5 or 6 a.m. and then did some home office work. From there at like 10, I went to the office and then just cranked all day. We have a bunch of AV projects kicking in before the holidays. So like sound systems, light systems, whatever. Got all those orders in and then came straight here.
Nice. Hell yeah. Thanks for coming by, fitting us in. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you're watching on YouTube. We need that little algorithm activating activities. Had to drop that at the top for my boy Diamond Cut. Sorry. So when did you start DJing? You got into this whole thing. You started the Treble Monsters. You're doing like staffing. You're doing events. You're doing all this stuff. But you started as a DJ first, right?
Correct. Started DJing in 2007 professionally. Like first club set, I think was like 2008.
Nice. Where at?
Bon V, I think.
I don't know what. I feel like I do know where that was.
It used to be on like Randolph.
Okay.
Used to be West Loop before West Loop was ever West Loop.
Okay. Yeah. And then what else was over there? Morgan was in here the other day. He said, I think Reserve he was talking about was the first spot over there.
I didn't even remember. I remember like I was underage, obviously, and I was like still playing. I was like excited to just get anywhere. And I remember like going to this like, giant club.
Yeah. How'd you get it?
It was through a promoter that had a talent buyer who like had a guy never show up, so they called me like last minute. Nice. It happened twice, by the way. So like that was the first time that happened, and they loved the set. They called me back like again, but it was like months after that. And then another spot, which was if you remember Manor.
Yep.
It's Stout now or whatever.
Stout. It's Rhino Bar now.
Yeah. So they used to own Rhino as well, the other Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
So then that was another one of those times where I got called in last minute, like someone didn't show up, and then from, I think it was like a couple of years apart or something like that, but I can't remember the exact details, but from there, and then they just kept calling back, and then just the word got out.
Dope.
Yeah.
You've always went by KICE, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to go by Gus back in the day, but
okay.
That was just the...
Then Gus Carras came around and you had to change it.
he was probably around before me, man. Yeah.
Where's that guy at?
I don't know. I thought it opened like a Greek place or something.
I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. All right, tight. So you start DJing in 2008?
Yeah. Well, I kicked it off professionally in 2008. Well, the real background story was I was born here.
Yeah.
And then when I was 4, my parents took me over to Jordan, Middle East. I lived there for probably 12, 13 years. And then high school came around. So I was junior in high school. Then I shipped back here. So I used to visit a lot. My family's here. All my entire extended family's here. So I did the whole Middle Eastern, like go to school, get your bachelor's degree, work your jobs, and get your master's degree. I got my master's and all this stuff. But I've always like right into college, I started DJing like frat parties and really crappy bars.
Yeah.
That's before the professional era of KICE DJing.
What college?
I went to DePaul for my undergrad.
Okay, nice.
So, I did all these jobs. I did the right thing, and
You
then
had to keep your parents happy.
yeah, dude. So then from there I went so I can't remember the full details, but let me just try to trace back. So from college, I got a full-time job, corporate. I was still DJing, and then I got another job. So I jumped. So I finished my master's. So I jumped another job, got double the salary, which was like amazing. 6-figure salary, phone, laptop, car, travel, US, Canada, Mexico, like the whole 9 yards, business development. And 2015 came around, and I was starting to oh man, I really want to get away from just DJing and doing something more, because I started DJing right after college, right after high school into college.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, probably 3 to 4 months later, my entire team got laid off. So we had a business development team of 8. So everybody got laid off, got a severance package. So for 3 months, they covered everything, so you can go find another job. I was still interviewing, right? So I'm getting other offers. I was a hot commodity in the market, whatever. And then I was like, all right, this was 2015, if I get one contract over the next 3 months, I'm going to stick with this full time.
For DJing?
For starting something new.
Okay.
And the new contract was Trouble Monsters, right? So if I take Trouble Monsters and make it a legitimate thing by having at least one contract in these 3 months of grace period that I have, it's like a given, then I'm sticking with this full time. So within those 3 months, I got 3 landed contracts, 2 bars and 1 hotel signed. And I was like, done. I'm in this long term. And then that's how Trouble Monsters started in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you started Trouble Monsters. You weren't you didn't transition into owning the company that books the DJs. You sort of started there almost
From scratch, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, so I was DJing for a while, and I was like,
Right.
all right, this is cool. But I always had the business mentality. I had multiple startups before.
Yeah.
Right. I got my master's in MIS. I was developing mobile apps. I was doing all this stuff. So the business was not foreign to me. I had franchises, whatever. So I knew business.
Yeah.
And I had the corporate background. But music was always something I've done. Just passion. Nobody taught me anything. Nobody showed me the ropes. I just listened to the radio back then. I was like, oh, that's cool what they're doing on the radio. I want to do that. So then I just got into DJing as a kid, right? Right out of high school. And then I don't know, just something kicked in 2015. I was like, I gotta elevate this, you know? And that's when a buddy of mine who was a manager at one of the venues in Chicago, hey, we like how you play. Can you bring us more guys? Because I need more coverage. And it started small, right? But that was before that severance package, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so we're moving. And then I was like, all right, kind of things aligned. I got laid off, severance package, business already started, LLC's established, blah, 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 right? And that's when, we went full-time.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Because I feel like when I think about a DJ that starts a company like that, it feels like something that they do after the fact, more so they're already in the industry, making all these connections, this and that. And then it almost puts the pieces together oh, I could probably, start a company and use these connections I've made to make money and this and that. But you just straight up came from the business background and led with the businessman mentality. I like that.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yeah. And the industry, right? So at least now it's a bit different, but artists are artists, right? So they're not abiding by policies or rules or the corporate structure or whatever. So I wanted to bring that in, So my goal was to truly bridge the gap of entertainment with professional execution.
Yeah.
Right. So if the artist is not reliable, then we're going to be reliable.
Okay.
So I had a lot of people on the roster, a lot, and not everybody was signed, but I had I called it a routing guide, right? So I had a lot of people in the routing guide. So if this guy didn't show up, I had backups ready to go, you know? So venues like that, they're like, okay, no matter what, it's guaranteed coverage. And on top of that, it's top quality. You know, I never booked anybody that was like less than 8 years in the game. You know, I know these 2 to 5 year guys, they're great, you know, but I had a brand and reputation to protect. So I had to like really get some of the best out there.
That's dope. I like that.
So it bridges both of those.
The reliability aspect is huge.
Right.
And I like that you kind of played on that.
Yeah.
And you know that sometimes people get too drunk and they don't really show up for their shifts.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they're late all the time and it causes the venue to like, you know, if it's a club, they're not doing dinner service. So it's not like it's already operating. It's like doors are open at 10, right? You have to be there at 9:45 setting up the gear, especially when it was Serato days and it was like the SL1 and, you know, all that stuff that we have to deal with. And it's vinyl turntables and needle and, you know, just there's so much stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
So I'm programmed to be there early, right? And a lot of our guys are on that level too. You just never know. You know, sometimes you might walk in, could be a private event, and the whole gear is flipped, and you have to reset everything yourself because GM or the owner, they know enough, but not where the RCA goes or where that quarter inch goes or,
right,
you know, or the microphone setup, whatever. So, you know, just being punctual, right? So then if you fast forward to where we're at now, I actually ended up creating a custom app. It's a web app. It's a portal that, you know, is where your schedule is, where you submit your availability, where your schedule is, where your reminders come through, venue info, SOP info now is up there, all that stuff. And SOP was a big thing. Nobody's ever booked a local name or a mid-sized name or any even larger names that we book. We send them on our one-page SOP. Cool. SOP is a standard operation, you know, procedures. So it's a document that shows you venue address, venue name, parking, F&B, genre to play, playlists, comments, anything that you need to, the gear that's there, which most people don't even ask. They just show up, expect the gear is going to be perfect. So they're prepping for their drivers, they're prepping for all this stuff. So we have this SOP that we implemented that the venues sign off on because it has F&B and all these things that they need to like approve, and then the artists have to read it.
That's pretty tight.
So when you walk in, I'm not walking in blind, and now I set up this artist for success. Right? He knows what genre to play, he or she, right? What genre to play, where to park, you know, spot hero or street parking or valet, you know, as much as we could, right? And then it gets more complicated when you deal with like one of our clients is, you know, hard rock, right? So like it gets complicated when they have a giant line array in there and we have an audio tech and a light tech programmed and bands back-to-back programmed. So it's like we have to share input lists, we have to share all this stuff to make sure the show goes on without a hitch, right? So then those SOP are more complex, and it has gear lists, it has all this stuff. So when someone walks in, like a band, they know how many monitors are there, right? What kind of gear to expect on site, what they need to bring in. And that way it's like, there's not a lot of like, you're not leaving a lot of error on site unless it's an unforeseen circumstance, right? So if it's like, God forbid, a car accident or a traffic, you know, a lot of times rain today took me double the time it would take me when I looked at it a week ago, right?
Yeah.
So that way we're setting people up as much as possible there.
That's dope. So
that's bridging that gap. You know, we're continuing to evolve on that.
That's tight. Everything you just spoke on right there is like nothing that I would have ever thought about prior to a DJ gig or something. You know what I mean? Like you kind of just are programmed to show up and work with what you got.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys kind of have it set up way more organized. That's nice. Yeah. I like that.
We got a couple of touring acts actually. So we book a couple of larger names like twice a month, right? We're not doing heavy on it. It takes a lot of work to get it done, but whatever. We're not that kind of company, but we do it. And sending that SOP to those guys and their agents, first of all, they're shocked. The first thing is like, what the hell is this, man? Like, we're going to do a thing. And they're like, how about we just read it and see what okay, the tech rider's there. Everything is there. We know who's picking up, who's the sound. Like, it's like, yeah, it's all there. Like, just take a second and read it. And they actually love it. They're like, I don't have to ask. I don't have to, you know, do all these things that worries me by sending my artist as an agency to a brand new venue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even those guys are signing off on it. And so when we get some local guys are like, oh, whatever, I don't care about this. And then they go and they fail. It's like, hey man, if the big guys, the middle guys, and most of the local guys are abiding by this, it's probably for your benefit to read this and sign off that you read it, you know? So yeah.
That's dope. So, real quick, what kind of music got you into DJing?
I grew up hip hop. I was always hip hop, and just we grew up in the Millennium era, I guess. T.I., Wayne, all that stuff. So I was always hip hop. I was always vinyl guy. And then obviously with the club scene, I moved into a lot more house, and now I'm like mostly house.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's what I thought. And then, I was actually surprised when you said hip hop, because I
people
was a house guy.
I know half of the choruses of all the OG songs. Like, I mean, just typical hip hop guy.
Yeah.
I haven't got into it lately. I want to say lately, probably 4 years, because that new stuff, it's just, one, the production and the story behind everything doesn't make sense to me anymore.
It's not. There is no story to be had. There's nobody's painting a picture of anything. It's crazy. Hip hop sucks right now.
Yeah, so I'm not excited to play it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll play a remix of it.
Yeah,
because it's kind of fun. It stays up tempo and energetic for a club scene, but I'm not stoked to like play straight 60 BPM stuff anymore.
Yeah,
or 80.
What kind of house stuff? Like, if you could do your most favorite DJ set ever, like what kind of house stuff are you playing?
Yeah, so I produce a lot of like the MK Sona Fedora, piano house, melodic, vocal, dancey stuff.
Dope.
The other alias of me, because the Middle Eastern side, is doing a lot more of the Middle Eastern house.
Okay.
So I'm infusing like old school samples into the house tracks. I've done a lot of different styles, but those are my main two right now. So I'm remixing a lot of stuff, and it's the Middle Eastern house. And it's like, I just played it at Bodega like last weekend, and like this past Saturday, and people were like, what is this? But like doing all the dances, which was the first time I've ever done it too, because it's so recent for me. But then mostly all my productions are like melodic house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. That's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Now back to like the business, right? Is like when you started Treble Monsters, or even right now, is it more like a scam artist type thing, or no? Because you don't have like a roster of DJs like that where you're like, we are Treble Monsters, these are our guys. I don't really am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right and wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's break down what Treble Monsters is.
Yeah.
Treble Monsters is the mother company. Okay, that is divided into two segments.
Okay.
First segment is the exclusive artist agency. I have 21 exclusive artists. So there's instrumental artists that you see that we're playing everywhere. Those are exclusively tied to us.
Like the drummer,
sax, violinist,
and
all those people. They're exclusively tied to us. Then we have a few DJs, and then we have a couple of singers, right? So that is 21 exclusive artists that we have full control, and we're fully dedicated to them first, right? Because it's the mutual thing.
Right.
So that is kind of similar to a scam artist, but I don't give a shit if they're getting a gig from somewhere else. They can keep it. Like, it's all about new business. I don't want to deal with their OG business because it's, I'm just going to get in the way, right?
Right.
The second half of Treble Monsters is music curation, consulting, and entertainment booking, right? So hotel, bar, club, whatever it is, can come to us and say, hey, program the playlist in the ceiling, commercially licensed, that's what we do, all the way down to the ground ops, which is the DJ, the band, the singer, the whole 9 yards there. So that is Treble Monsters in full. That is averaging around 150 to 200 artists a weekend booked in just Chicago. So that's between all the instruments, all the DJs, all the bands, and some technicians as well. Treble Experiences is division number 2. That is the private event division. So corporate events, weddings, private events in general, we do all that. So we book our exclusive roster, outside of our exclusive roster, all into private events. So private events love that because you're getting a nightlife guy that's professional, knows how to mix, read a crowd, and blend, not a jukebox, right? Coming in and playing your wedding or your corporate event. They love that, right? The third division is Treble AV. So AV, audio, video, lighting, we do supports both the experiences division and the monsters division, right? So that goes, so it's the easier part is the experiences division. So staging, lighting, production, sound for private event, we have it all. Also specialty act, like you want a fire dancer, you want whatever it is, we have a whole division of that. And then the nightlife and hospitality, which is Treble Monsters, it serves commercial installs. So we install like the audio and light that you see at nightclubs. So we do that A to Z, right? So we run the cables and then we bring in the sound system, we spec it out, we design it, and we install it. We have a fourth division, which is our studio, but I don't dabble with that as much as I used to, because we used to be a management company for artists. I had a full-blown studio, wasn't being used as much. So kind of moved into an agency role and got rid of the studio. Now I have my own studio, quote unquote. So we have a couple studios, but nothing major or crazy, just for fun, right?
Okay.
So the main three divisions are those three divisions. So to answer your question, which I hope I did with all that, we do have an exclusive agency, but it's a little bit different than a scam artist or whatever else.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in 2015, when you started, you landed your first contract, right? What was it for? Just for providing DJs for the room, booking DJs, staffing DJs?
Yeah. So one contract was a hotel booking singers, live music. The other was DJs, and the third was a one of the Big Ten schools, Northwestern, Kellogg, where it was like our first.
The business school.
Yeah, we
right?
booked Sam Felt for them. It was like my first year. I was like, whoa, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm doing this.
Nice.
I brought in Matt, LEC. We brought him, Matt Bratz, brought him in to do all the production as well. So it was a decent gig for being. He was ahead of me in the game on the production side.
Yeah.
Because that was his thing. So like he was probably a couple of years before me already doing his thing, and I was like, I called on him and I was like, I need you to come in and do this. And he helped with the rigging and the stage and the setup and the back line. And then we booked the talent and everything around the talent.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So what's the next step from there? You're in the game now, you're booking acts, you're booking DJs, singers, musicians, whatever you need. And then what's the next thing that comes to your mind where you're like, all right, let me work on this. Let me start doing playlists for these places while they don't have DJs or something, like what was the next step to that?
I think what happened is I built this this village, right? And it was all 1 to 2 flats. So I had all the services there. It was 1 here, 2 there, whatever. What happened next was making them taller buildings, right? So it's not like I moved into a whole new service. I moved into more of a scale it, right? So instead of like doing one venue, I do the entire company's venues.
Okay.
Right. Instead of doing just the DJs and a light tech, I would do audio, DJs, the whole 9 yards. Right. So I just expanded each vertical. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of the next move after that.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's dope. And then how do you have time? You said you're producing and you're DJing and you're running all this shit. How do you have time for all of that, bro?
I ask myself all the time the same question.
Are you well organized? You super well organized? You said like you looked up the directions to this place when I texted you last week.
Yeah.
And I feel like you put that in your calendar or something back then. And then
I'm very OCD, man.
Yeah.
Like nothing gets slipped under, I see it all. I have a small team of 10 in the office. We're in River West. They crush it. They're really good at what they do. A lot of changes happened in the last couple of years. Team is one. And just staying, like using the right tech stack, right? There's definitely, days where I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff going on, so it's not easy, but having the proper team supporting, delegating, accountability is important. And a lot of times I just have to turn off my phone. A lot of times, I do this at least once a year. I'll go to the West Coast, somewhere in the desert, right? Kanab or Utah, whatever, right?
Do some ayahuasca.
I will literally turn off my phone, and I'll get no service. I completely turn off all the radios in my head. I don't respond to anything. I have my after hour support. I have my GM. She's managing a lot of stuff, and that helps, right? But yeah, every day is a struggle, man. It's like, I gotta go to the studio, but then I gotta do this, and it's definitely a lot to manage.
How I got to imagine you deal with a lot of like if you're doing the bookings for a venue, but then the venue is booking a different DJ because the GM has known him from back in the day or something, and they have a relationship and he wants to book him, but you're already running the bookings for that and this and that. That's got to be a bitch. That's got to be
There's actually one case that I can think of, and you know who it is, that does that. Nobody does that. We're in full control of the bookings. We have zero questions coming from management. A lot of times it does happen. It actually has only happened this year with, a couple of people that but the way it works is we're an MSP, so we're a managed service provider. So we come in and we manage everything.
Yeah.
Regardless of your rate, regardless of how you want to operate, we're just single source because we're curating playlists to all the hours and to the elements. So if you come in and intervene, it's going to go against both of us, right? We're not doing anything without the venue's approval, right? It's like they're approved artists, So when that happens, as long as they communicate that, that's fine. And then we'll put them in our system and we'll make sure they're slotted because we have slots to cover.
Right.
So all of a sudden, if it's blank, guess what? It's going to all the red flags are going to happen on our team. They're going to freak out. Wait, there's no band or there's no DJ. Well, wait, that was the venue wanted X. Put X on and handle it that way. Doesn't happen. Actually, rarely until recently, because it's just new accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They do help. They want to bring in a couple of guys they know, which is great. We're neutral. We have no, we don't care who it is, as long as it makes sense for the brand. There's some exclusive artists that have never played some of our venues. And technically I'm supposed to give them all the work, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't fit that brand. Right? So whatever they need goes, kind of thing.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It's always as a DJ that's, out here trying to get gigs and shit, it's always weird when you're talking to a place that has a deal with someone already and then you're trying to get them, we're going to do this on this date. All right, I need this much money, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, we're already working with this company, so you got to talk to them. And then you're talking to them, you're trying to get money, and they're like, oh, well, it's only this much. And you're like, well, I was talking to the owner or the GM or whatever it is, and he told me this much. And it's always a mess, I feel like. For a DJ outside of that system, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's all pre-approved stuff. So we have budgets in mind, we have rates in mind. It's either on a transactional level or on a recurring basis. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We can do exceptions if it makes sense for the venue, but all of it's pre-discussed. It might seem new to this person or whoever it is that they're talking to.
Yeah.
Everything is already set in stone, right? And we kind of know our parameters. A lot of times we do have to go outside the parameters as well, but it's within the overall parameter.
Whatever they working with them.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems like it's confusing, but in reality, it's as long as there's a line of communication between everyone and it's clear and it's transparent, which is what we pride on, that's all that matters, man. We can make any artist fit any venue if the deal's a sweet spot for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how it usually works from our end.
Nice. So how many venues are you guys booking on a Saturday night? Busiest night, right?
Don't know.
You don't even know?
No.
If you had to guess, 30, 20.
Just Chicago.
Yeah, just Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 20.
20 probably?
Yeah. Something like that.
That's dope.
Yeah. I mean, it's if I had more bandwidth, honestly, we would be doing a lot more. I've actually said more no's than yeses last year for new accounts.
Really?
Yeah. It's beyond you giving me the dollar and saying, hey, I want you to come help us out with this. I look at the ethics and I look at the history of the venue and I look at who's operating it. Shit you not, I've said no to 8 different accounts this past year. 8. And some of them are venues that are top notch.
Yeah.
And I was transparent. And I said, here's why. And we can work another deal and it would entail these other locations or whatever. But for this neighborhood, I'm not excited to work with you guys. And it's beyond the money, man. It's when some guys have offered us 4 times the price just to come in and take over. And we're like, you're going to cost me more anxiety than any dollar you're going to give me.
Yeah. And what, those spots, what are they looking for from you? Why are they coming to you and offering you 4 times the amount of money? Because you got the DJs and the musicians?
That's one of the biggest things that we are known for. It's the combos and how they're done. Well rehearsed, years of energy and chemistry together. it's just done differently, right? A lot of times now it's gotten really hot. Like everybody wants that, and they just slap people together randomly, and it sucks. Like we've gotten calls so many times. We should have went with you guys. Like blah blah blah. You know, I'm like, I know. We saw this coming as we forecasted for all of this. So that is one, but it's they know that we're reliable, right? And then we have a customer service line that's available till like pretty much 1 or 2 a.m. that the GM or an artist can call, right? Any venue or any artist, they can call that line. Someone's going to respond, text or call, right? So we have the reliability. We have top talent. I honestly don't know any other agency that dabbles in this many services and also very niche, but also delivering really cool talent, like just in general across the board, from San Fran, Seattle, Northeast. I mean, they're all over the place, so they know that they're going to get their best bang for their buck when it comes to that. And, I'm kind of I don't want to say easygoing. I'm very uptight. I'm very high strung. There's one way I'm going to do it. I'm flexible. I'll bend the rules. But if we don't do it this way, then you can't ask me why did shit hit the fan, because it wasn't done the way I know it should be done. Right.
Yeah.
So, people know also, like when they sign up, it's a lot of work. They got to get in our portal. They got to sign off on the SOPs. It's a lot of music exchange, a lot of playlist exchange, a lot of micromanagement in the first 30 days. Like, it's a lot of work, man. It's like, they're not just getting, can you Joe Schmo book me Sally Mae and give you $50, man. And like, just, we pay the artist direct, right? We, all this stuff, it's taken off their plate and it's done on a level that they can't even execute themselves. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff cooking, man.
There's a lot of stuff cooking. If you had to guess what's next for you, what do you got? What do you actually have cooking?
Strategy and KICE show.
The Strategy and KICE show. I mean, Dolo's still in Houston, so I'm looking for a
I love Dolo. No, they'll beat me up, man. I don't know. What's next is we're scaling, man. Like I actually had to scale down the staff in our office, which is not fun. I also had to scale down the operation a bit, be a little more precise, control quality better. But the whole point is to branch out more. Our exclusive roster has been pitched a few times to outside of the state, because we have people not just from Chicago, we have people from other states. So kind of routing them a little bit more on outside of the contracts that we have, more on a transactional basis. So there's 2 venues out of town hitting in January on a recurring basis. So that's going to be cool. And it's our combos, right? It's our DJ and our instrumental combos. We ship them together. Mm-hmm. We're not shipping our instrument with a random DJ, because there's venues that do that, right? I'm sure there's a place in Houston that does that.
That has like a DJ and a saxophone player.
Yeah.
I have played at the strip club actually with a saxophone player, which is an insane combination in and of itself. But I hated it. I fucking absolutely hated it. Why? Because this dude is like, he's a wild boy. Like, he's an incredible musician, and I sometimes think with that, for your mind to work that well musically, you are not great at social cues or really reading a room. And he would get lost in playing the instrument, and he would go too much. He would go too hard. He wouldn't know when to play. He was just really good at playing. He wasn't really, really good at sequencing the night.
So we have this thing where we really joke about every day in our office. There's technical musicians and there's sonic musicians. So your guy who's very jazzy, probably, right? Like, he gets fucking crazy with it.
Yes.
Oblivious to the sonic side. Oblivious to the cues, like you just said. The sequence of the song, like anything. Just, I am very in the pocket, and I am very excited to be in the pocket. But dude, look around. So that's where we come in, right? With our instruments. I used to have a lot more. I'm down to literally like 8 or 9 instruments now. Like, and that's it. You guys are the top. That you like. There's 8 here only because you play technically and sonically. And if you miss a technical note, nobody cares. They're drunk. As long as you're engaging and it's fun and phones are out, that's what matters, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're booked. You know, if they wanted an orchestra or classical musicians, they would have probably got rid of the DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they want the DJ element, the flavor on top. So you have to be better than the freaking DJ knowing what's coming next, especially if you're not rehearsed. Right, so which we rehearse and we do all this stuff prior, right, to keep it seamless.
So to rehearse for a DJ and the instrument to rehearse together, they're not doing a whole. They don't have like a whole 2-hour set together, right? They just have little pockets of specific songs that they do together really well that are rehearsed.
Exactly.
Right?
So the DJ can do like Strategy's doing his thing on a night.
Right.
Strategy knows I have 20 songs for this sax player.
Right.
I'm going to decide a strategy when is the best time, collaborating with the sax player, saying, "Hey, in 5 minutes I'm going to drop that song because it fits my genre.
Right.
It fits my escalation of the night." Because when you think about it, even though the instrument is a hotter commodity now, at least for us, people call us first instrument, second the DJ.
Yeah.
Right. Because the instruments are like completely unique and different. So it's very niche. So then the DJ is very important still. He's the backbone of the entire thing. And we have this now, like, it's no longer instrument and DJ. They're working together. Right. So they're both as equal. They're just as important. If the instrument doesn't do well, the night sucks because they wanted the instrument. If the DJ doesn't do well, that's the whole night, right?
Yes.
So they're both just as important. So what we do is we kind of like pre-prep few songs that fit the DJ's ear, the venue's ear, and the instrument's ear. And as long as it matches, then we have that pocket, like you said, and then free flow. Whenever it happens, you improvise those songs, and then the instrument knows the song. So then the show is really good. And that's kind of our secret sauce. There's a few more things beyond that, but our secret sauce is like literally like prepping that at minimum. That's the minimum we need to do.
Yeah, that's really dope.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, so you don't get a guy that's coming in. And there's a lot of times where we've had multiple on-site rehearsals to correct people on how they play because they would be stuck technically in thinking about, I'm a horn player. I need to be in the background because there's a singer here. The singer is the top liner. I'm not. So I had to educate a lot of our instruments when they first started. You're the top liner now. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, now it does. You're singing. You're in the spotlight, right? You're going out there and you're playing the lyrics. You're playing the pads. You're switching things up every 8 bars. There's all these things that we do. And then we kind of like bend their ears a bit, right? And then once they get it, once or twice, then it becomes like a smooth thing. And then it's like a giant band that's split up in micro bands, right? So now we have all these DJs that can play with all these instruments, and I can divvy them up any way we need to. Drums, sax, violin, trumpet, sax, violin, drums, right? We can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's really dope. Yeah. What's the most booked duo that you have?
Most booked duo, everybody loves the sax and violin. So I have my own group, also Trouble Squad.
Okay.
It's a whole other brand. So we've played Burning Man, we've played Northern Lights, Northern Nights. Oh my God. I did see the Northern Lights last month, but Northern Nights, and a few festivals, right? And we've done clubs.
And that's you DJing?
My drummer and sax and violin.
You
So
DJing, a drummer, a sax, and a violin.
Yeah, 4 people.
That's crazy. Are you DJing like stripped down tracks?
No.
They're playing over full tracks. Yeah. All that fits in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it on Trouble Squad. I mean, I wish we can do a bit more on the production side, but they're not producers. They're really good musicians. They're like, our drummers and engineers are really good. He's top notch. Our sax player is an amazing musician, and same with the violinist, but they're very sonic. They're very sonic driven, all of them. So like when we play, it's a show. We're not stopping.
Yeah.
And the drummer goes on for 2 to 3 hours straight. Then the instruments are back and forth together, talking to each other and all kinds of stuff live.
Yeah. Being a DJ that has played with instruments a few times, never rehearsed, never anything that I even knew was happening before it was happening. It's always been pretty horrific. And most I feel like nightclub DJ stories are pretty similar. We all kind of share that in common. Like, get this fucking drummer away from me.
Yeah.
You know? But my boy Cutswell is always raving about the drummer at Bodega.
Yeah, that's my guy.
He's like, that's the best drumming I've ever heard in my life over a
beast.
DJ set.
Yeah, he's insane. Like, I mean, he's one of those guys that we took him. He was in the rock world, completely nothing to do with house or open format. Pop and rock, that's what he knew. And I got him on probably 5-6 years ago. And every single time I hear him play, I'm like, dude, you just keep getting better. I don't know what it is. And he's just like so nice. I was like, yeah, thanks, man. You know, but he's like constantly getting better. And I thought he hit the ceiling, you know, and it's like either his energy, his tricks, his structure, there's all kinds of stuff that he does that's pretty dope. But yeah, I remember Cutswell coming into Bodega once. I was playing, me, my drummer, saxophone, like Trouble Squad was playing.
Oh, okay.
I remember him coming in. It was like a year ago, I think, something like that. But we have a resident at Bodega. He's Robert. He's our drummer. He's there pretty much every week since they opened.
Yeah, that's
he's
tight.
a beast.
I think, what's his Instagram? Like Rocky or something?
Rocky's another guy. Rocky is one of our drummers as well. He's not on as much as Robert because he's not exclusive, but we book him a ton as well.
Okay.
On and off, actually, depending on the season. A lot of back end there with Rocky, but yeah. So it's we have probably 8 drummers total that we book. Only one of them is exclusive, which is Robert.
Nice. Once I take some drum lessons and I learn how to play better and I stop DJing forever, I'm gonna come see if I can get on your roster.
It's a retirement plan.
It's a retirement plan, bro.
Like I said at the beginning, like, you know, people like they'll start booking after they're done like gigging.
Yeah, that's
like,
kind of how it feels usually. Yeah.
So now that's your thing.
That's like where I'm at right now. I'm fucking shot off DJing. I want to do some other shit.
Tell me more about what you're doing now. So you're gigging what once?
Right now I'm doing once a week. I'm doing 6 hours for the one night a week that I step out behind the decks.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, but also at the same time I got this girlfriend and that's pretty expensive. So I need to get out there and lock some more things up, but I'm definitely being as picky as I possibly can because I don't want to feel the same way that I felt when I came back here, which was like, I fucking hate DJing. I hate people. I hate everybody. I hate myself. I'm just burnt out. I can't do it anymore. I'm just doing it for money. Like,
right. Straight
up just doing it for money. Don't even enjoy it that much anymore. And right now, just doing it once a week, I'm loving it. So I'm gonna slowly add another night, make sure that I still like it. You know, I'm just gonna take it slow.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overestimate the word picky, right? I think it's selective. I think you're. It's not just about the money anymore. It's really about the passion behind why you started. You know, put the fame and the status and the fun shit that you do when you're DJing. There's a driver in you that you get the butterfly feeling when people are singing along, like that is addicting, right? Mm-hmm. So when that fades, then you go into that situation like, what the hell am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm on the same boat. I've selective. I play once a month, and it's literally a place that I know is gonna absolutely love what I'm playing, or it's somewhere new, like a grand opening or out of town that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't play without my instruments anymore.
That's
like
nice.
I can't, you know, because it's tougher to book. It's definitely logistically harder, but the show, if it's done right, the way we're talking about, it goes from a normal DJ set that your peaks are your tracks to a whole nother experiential level if it's done right? Because I talked to a lot of DJs when I even first started the company. Talked about Boy Genius earlier, and he was like, "Oh man, I hate playing with instruments." This was years ago.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't blame you, man. It's done wrong. Although since day one, it's been done wrong. You know, and I get that. You know, so having the drive and the passion, like stay just that flame, keep it ignited. Like even once a week, twice a week, whatever that is, man. It has to make sense because once you lose that, it's like your whole thing is done. You know, you become like a robot, dude. And it's like, no energy, no passion. Makes sense, man. Well, good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you. I also I want to focus more on DJing and being musically creative and manipulating sounds to create new things. And like, that's a passion of mine that sort of got pushed to the background when I was doing the whole send nudes thing and like trying to become a personality on the internet more than like a great DJ who does cool things musically. You know, I sort of scrapped that and I was like, no one gives a shit about the music. Every DJ plays the same songs. The people are drunk. They don't really give a shit. Like,
Right.
Fuck all that. Put that in the background. Let me put these stickers on these titties and try and blow up my Instagram to get better gigs, you know?
How did that go?
It was fun. It went well. I got gigs. I got, you know, everything I was looking for. But then, you know, now I'm like, I'm over that. It ran its course. It's
Right.
no longer that much fun for me. It's not even like times have changed. It's a different time. Girls don't really want to get naked in the nightclubs anymore because they have an OnlyFans that they want to charge you to see them naked.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just different times, and I'm ready to actually enjoy doing cool things behind the turntables.
So what does that entail next? Like, what does that look like?
It just looks like me actually focusing on moving people through the music rather than just my personality up in the DJ booth with a girl on my shoulders and girls all around me and doing crazy things and trying to like shock people through what I'm doing outside of the music.
Do you use the mic a lot?
Now I do, because of DJing in Houston. I had to out there. Yeah. I definitely had to. And I feel like I learned how to. I at the very least learned how to be confident behind the microphone, because it's not really what you're saying. You know, you kind of think like, oh my God, I'm going to say something stupid or some shit. It's not, it has nothing to do with the words that you're saying. It's how you say it.
Right. Yeah,
So
it's
you,
the confidence behind the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've never used the mic. I mean, I did. I refuse to. It's always set up. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And I want literally my transitions and the music, and I'm always against the mic. I think MCs ruin my set. I've had MCs in my set. 50% of them always hit the mark. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I also don't play a typical set. All my music is just not from your record pools. I have DMS, DJ City, BPM Supreme. I mean, you think of all the top 40 open format, Zip DJ, the house one. I have all of them. And I'll pull from those, but I'm pulling from different areas that are not even, you can't even access through a record pool. So my music is sounding different than most. So I'm not playing the same track that everybody's getting from these pools. That literally, you know, when you crate dig, quote unquote, I crate dig every time before a gig. I cannot go to a gig without crate digging. Right. So I believe that if you have the right selection and the right artistic mind and technicality to blend it, like, you know, you do, I know you scratch and do all kinds of cool shit. I think that alone can defeat a microphone. I mean, a microphone, I generally, and I hate to say this, I've seen a lot of people use it as a transition piece, you know, like the horns. When they wreck transition, they hit the horn. I've seen the microphone being used like that. And that's what's stuck. I've also seen it in festivals, right? And with the big dogs, 1, 2, 3, drop, you know, whatever, fine, right?
Yeah.
That comes with that stereotype, I guess, quote unquote. I don't ever want to use a microphone. I would literally want what I'm playing to make people sing, and I want to cut the track. I want to hear everybody's voice, right? I want that to happen. So I had a feeling going down to Houston, coming back, you're using the mic now.
I'm using the mic a lot, and I'm actually enjoying it, and it feels, you get a more personal connection with the room.
Yes.
You really do. And I try and stay away from like the hype up shit of like, oh, hands up, let's go. Like,
Right.
You need a little bit of that, whatever. But I like to crack a joke or say something about, you know, someone that's in the room that 50% of the people know, or something like that. I try and do it differently than most people are doing it.
So give me an example.
You know, I'm at Liquor Box at 3 a.m. and Chris R is in the corner drinking. You know what I mean? I'm going to say something stupid about Chris R.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Chris R, you know, where's Molly at or some shit. You know, whatever comes to mind, but something that is a little bit more personal and sort of ties us together. You got the promoter table next to you. You say something about the promo company. Brian Nolan, save some pussy for the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? You know, some stupid that's going to get a chuckle out of some people, but also let everyone else in the room know that you are here and you know other people and we're all having a good time together. Shit like that.
I like that. See, that's different, right? Like if you hear all the other guys are like, you know, hype stuff, like you said, or like they're the EDM bubble still era of that, but that's different, you know? So that, to me, if I heard you joke, I'd be in there, I'd laugh, you know? Most of the time I'm like, oh, dude, just let it go, you know, put the mic down. So that's cool that you do it that way.
Yeah, awesome. But I come from DJing in Chicago where I was scared to touch a microphone. Yeah. Like, don't get that thing away from me. I don't even want that thing near me. Like, I can do everything that I need to do without that, with just my hands. I can let the music do everything. And there's something special about that for sure. For sure. And I would love to DJ in a room that doesn't have bottle service and I don't have to announce the bottle coming out and all that, and just be able to get into straight music and be able to move these people, and they know that that's what they're there for. You know what I mean?
I got a couple spots in mind.
Yeah? Have you played at Cashmere? That spot looks dope.
No.
Have you been in there?
Yeah.
Looks tight.
Mike Lang literally just texted me right before I walked in. He was there.
He was there.
Yeah. That's all like straight house though.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing now with their identity, but I don't know. I think you're doing more open format now though, right?
Yeah, open format. I don't think I could. I could do whatever. I would like to DJ a house night where it's just house music. I would have to really prepare for that, though.
That's cool.
I would have to really prepare for that. Because there's certain, you know, I got my certain like fallback things that I do where if the room's not, if I got to capture the room, I know that I could do this to get them. Yeah. And it's not necessarily house music. You know what I mean?
And what are you playing now? Is it mostly like hip hop, top 40, like where you're at now mostly?
Yeah, mostly top 40 hip hop and bounce up and down from house, doing a lot of house stuff, mixing with like the 60 BPM hip hop stuff, and then going to the
That's cool.
90s, 100s.
That's awesome.
Bouncing all around.
Yeah, I'm just 128 straight.
Yeah?
No. I'll go up and down too, but I haven't dipped into the hundreds in a long time. It's been like, you know, 115, 120, 128, 130, stuff like that. Because it's house remixes. I keep it housey now, but it's like remixes. I'll throw in a hip hop remix. I'll throw in a, you know, whatever. But it's, you know, original house, mainstream commercial house, mashups, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also have overplayed all the hip hop over the years. I was looking at my iTunes the other day and I was looking at one of the OGTI songs. I don't know. I think maybe it's What You Know, or I forget which one it was, man, but it was like 10,000 plays.
Yeah.
It was like insane. I was like, that makes sense why I stopped playing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I still love the song. I'll listen to it. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I go to the memories come back, but I overplayed all the good shit, you know? So now I'm like, what's next? So I'm going remixes and mashups and I'm finding things that are completely off the grid.
Yeah. And I'm finding myself pushing myself to play more stuff that I deemed corny before. You know, I'm trying to get away from like, oh, that's corny, don't play that.
Yeah.
Because it's fun. Most of that shit that I deemed corny is like fun music that people enjoy and want to hear, and it really sets it off. And like, I feel like that's kind of where we're at in the nightclubs, at least, is like people need some fun music to turn up to.
I call it familiar. They need something they can sing to. They know. One of the biggest complaints we get from venues is like, oh, this DJ played the right song, but it's a remix that went to like electro house. Okay, but that kind of ruins the whole thing, guys, right? So familiar, you know, having familiar tunes in any place, even if you go to like the techno venues in Chicago, they're still playing mainstream house with the underground. There's still, even the underground, if you know underground, you know some of the songs. They're not playing completely obscure stuff, right? At any level, you should be playing some sort of, you know, something as a DJ, not as a or original producer, not as a original band. I'm talking about like literally DJs playing covers, right? Familiar tunes are big time, and that's how you get people singing and engaging and staying and drinking. Sales are up, venues calling you back, bring the guy again, crushed it, everybody was into it. You know? It makes sense, man.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I feel like I'm every step of the way of my career thus far, I've had to learn something new and sort of start from there and take it from there.
When'd you start?
It's a new chapter, as
new chapter every month.
Gay as that sounds. When did I start DJing?
Yeah.
I started DJing like professionally or just in general.
I guess, when did you kick off and when did you actually start like playing professionally?
I started DJing when I was 19, like got a little controller thing and learned how to DJ. And then I started doing full-time, like quit my job to DJ full-time, probably 2013, 14.
Nice. What were you doing?
I was at Stout.
No, like full-time.
Before that?
Like full-time job. You said you quit your job? And then you
Yeah, I mean, before that I was a bartender.
Oh, no shit.
I worked at Butch McGuire's, actually. I was a doorman and then a server and then a bartender.
And how did you get into DJing?
I got into DJing through making beats. I was making beats, producing like hip-hop, underground hip-hop stuff.
Oh, I did see a video of you doing something with a band. You were hitting...
Oh, yeah, I was playing like the little electronic drum kit.
What is like a Roland something? I don't know what it was. It was a Roland, right?
Roland,
yeah.
Yeah. It's in the other room.
That's cool. Yeah, so you started producing first and you were working nightlife, then you made the transition.
When I was producing like that, I was like 14 to 20, making hip hop beats and stuff. My brother was a rapper, so I was like, I want to make the beats.
Got it.
So I did that. And then once I started DJing, I was like, this is where I need to be. I always felt like I wasn't the best producer. Like the stuff I was making, it was cool, but I never like felt like I really knew what I was doing. When I was DJing, I felt like I really knew what I was doing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I switched over.
And what was your first memorable gig?
My first memorable gig? I mean, when I started, I was DJing for rappers or just DJing the entire hip hop show. I was like the house DJ for a hip hop show.
That's cool.
So I did a lot of that at the beginning. I opened up for People Under the Stairs. You know who that is? Legendary, like underground hip hop group. One of the members actually just died a couple years ago, but that was huge for me. I was like, holy shit, I'm opening for People Under the Stairs. This is insane.
So you're playing just like regular, like hip hop, rap, whatever?
It's playing like underground, like old Common, like underground Chicago hip hop shit, like Mole Men and Juice and Matlock and
that's cool.
Yeah, all sorts of like backpacker stuff, Atmosphere.
Oh wow,
Brother Ali, like real underground shit. Yeah. That's how I got into it.
That's cool.
And then my first like probably memorable club gig. Architect actually was like my big brother in the game. He's who sort of got me into like the nightclubs and stuff. And I remember, you remember Doré Lounge?
Yeah.
That was the first place downtown I played. I was covering for him. Danny V was on before me. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then I don't even remember. The gig wasn't lit. It definitely wasn't that lit. But
you're not going to get booked on a lit gig in the beginning, man. They're going to give you that opening slot. Maybe 5 people are in the room or whatever, you know?
Yeah. But it was tight.
That's cool. Yeah. When I played Bon V, dude, it was like, I walked in and it was like, I think it was like the closing set. And I was like, one of my first real like club. I played like venues and bars and parties, but I remember walking in there, I was like, this is too much. Like, and I was train wrecking. I was so nervous. And the monitor, I was so nervous. My monitor was off. I had the monitor off all night.
Just because you didn't even remember to turn it on?
I was just like, oh shit, you know? But I obviously played it cool. That's what you do as a DJ. Yeah, I got this. Fuck, dude. It was bad. They liked this music selection. I know that, but I know for a fact the transitions were fucking terrible, man.
Yeah.
I had LimeWire at the time, I think. I can't remember, but it was a lot of rips. So no intros, nothing, just straight, So bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I was just at a wedding this last weekend, and the DJ, he train wrecked a couple times, but he was like a confident train wrecker. Like, you know, the guys that are train wrecking, but they don't even really know that they're train wrecking, and they just let it go. It's just like this never ending mix. Like, if I started train wrecking, I'm back spinning out of the record that was on, and I'm pushing forward. Like, okay, this song's on now. Like,
Right.
let's keep it moving.
Right.
They just had them both going like a solid 40 to 63 second train wreck. I'm like, yo. And obviously, none of the patrons even realize it. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't care.
But I'm dying. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
You know, that's the good old sync button. That's how you could perfectly have a train wreck, is if you sync them and they're locked in wrong.
Yeah.
You can have that for a minute.
Yeah.
You know?
That could have been it, honestly.
Yeah. It's most wedding guys, I don't want to say all of them. Most of them have, you know, they don't have real rigs, and they just have, you know, faders. And yeah, I've seen a wedding DJ get paid a premium, and he was DJing off of an audio mixer
That's crazy.
through virtual DJ. You know, this was
That's
recently,
crazy,
and I'm like,
Todd.
what do you? And this is the guy you guys booked. Like, wow, like this is crazy. You know, so it makes sense when you hit the sync button and it's like off grid, off beat at the whole 9 yards, and it's just for a minute straight, perfectly done. It's like that's actually an art in of itself, man.
Yeah, it was wild.
I cannot. If I hear a train wreck, I'm like you. I'm either backspin, echoing out. I'm correcting it if it's close enough. If it's too far, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I realize I did a mistake. I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, like I heard it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I just can't have that going. There's no way.
It was wild. But I respect the confidence of it. Not even knowing that you're really train wrecking.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's good. It was Drake Headlines was the song he mixed in. I forgot the one that was playing before, but it was just like, you know how the drums don't really come in for the first however long he starts rapping?
Yeah.
And it was just that, him rapping over something else that's going on. But people just hear him rapping and they're rapping along.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's crazy.
Yeah, drives me nuts. I used to be that guy sitting in the crowd, like, ears to the DJ. I trained myself to just give up on that.
You can't. It'll ruin your night.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Right? You got like so much new technology out there that is so cheap that you can literally get a rig less than $1,000 now, especially if you get it used.
Get a rig for $50, I feel like.
Yeah, if someone's quitting after COVID, everybody's quitting, you know? And because of that, I think the confidence, like you said, the confidence is boosted with all the wrong craft. You know, there's no real DJing like we used to know it, and because of the technology so cheap and it's so readily available, and all these softwares are out, you know, and you don't have to create dig, all the playlists are done for you on the record pools now, and all this stuff, literally anybody can pick it up. And the more people are picking up, the bit larger the sample, so the more times I'm going to go to an event, and most likely 50-50 chance it's going to be a train wreck or a real DJ, right? So then I just trained myself. I had like shut this ear off. I can't. Or sometimes, you know, I just have to walk out of the room, come back. Not because I'm going to go say anything, whatever. Genuinely, my bones like kind of flip. You know, like my chest like kind of does something.
Yeah,
you know, hearing train wrecks.
If you even if you don't notice it, like you notice it, you're a DJ, you understand what's happening. But even for a person that isn't quite understanding what's happening, it's sonically wrong.
Yeah,
and it fucks you up a little bit, whether you actually realize it or not.
Right.
Like I remember specifically being in the strip club and I fucked up a mix somehow, and it like was taking me out of the pocket, out of the mix. And at that same exact time, I saw this person like accidentally knock over a hookah. Because, and I swear to God, they were completely tied together. Like I was fucking the room up and they didn't even really realize it. They were so in the moment, to whatever was happening, that they went with it. Like it was crazy. I will never forget it. I'm like, damn, I just made that happen. Like on accident.
Subconsciously, dude. It really like, you know, and on the other side of that, you got people that are like easy accessing the gear, but also the record pools and the social media BTS stuff is educating your general public, like your average Joe, to know what it takes to DJ and mashup, like the TikTok mashups. So that the average ear now is also aware of a train wreck compared to 10 years ago, right? Like, because of all this new mashups, live stuff that was happening, live stream DJing, people are watching the buttons in the decks, right? So now not only, so it's kind of crazy that people are learning how to DJ, like as an average Joe, like, so many wrong transitions, whatever they're called, right? I get it all the time.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you got these green DJs coming in with like controllers and just train wrecking the whole time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I got to pee real quick. Hold on.
Welcome back.
It's lit. Thank you. Yeah. So train wreck responsibly.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
What else is on the agenda for strategy?
Man, just I'm focusing on me and my girlfriend rather than just me, which is weird. This is nothing I've ever done before in my 34 years of life. I have a real girlfriend that I envision myself being with for a long time. So, before it was just become the biggest DJ that you could possibly become. Like, that's the only focus I ever had. Every second of every day was dedicated to me furthering myself. Now I'm like, all right, I got some other things going on. I'm viewing life differently. I got to create a nice balance and actually enjoy things and live a more full life for what it has to offer outside of just bottle rats and spenders in the club.
What time do you wake up every day?
I wake up, it depends, but I try to wake up at least by noon.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, it's not bad. Wow. But I've always been a night owl. I've always been up late. Like, I operate at night, always. So, like, sleep's important, maybe even one of the most important things. And as much as I'd love to be like a functioning member of the early morning crew, it would just hurt me in the end because I know I'm going to bed at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., something like that.
Yeah.
So
what time do you go to sleep?
On a good night, I can get to bed these days by 2.
Wow.
It used to be like 6 a.m.
Because of the biological clock of DJ.
Yeah, staying up, in Chicago, the late night spots, you're trying to get a gig after your first gig, so you're staying up till 4 or 5, depending on Friday, Saturday. And then when I was in Houston, the strip club was late night. So Saturdays, I was working till 4 a.m.
I was a soundbar for like 8 years. That residency killed me, man. My left ear is kind of shot.
Bro, my ears are, it's not good.
Yeah.
The tinnitus is going hard.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Loud?
Loud.
I have like 6 different custom in-ears. I don't even use one of them.
Yeah, I have the custom in-ears. It's just hard to DJ with them on. If I go out and I'm not DJing, always got them on.
Right, that's you're talking about the earplugs.
Yeah, the Sensophonics in-ear.
Earplugs?
Earplugs, yeah.
So there are, I obsessed with this for the longest time. There are in-ears, custom or not. There's some generic ones, like the Shure looking ones.
Yes.
And then there's the custom ones that have a filter like the earplugs that allow you to hear the room while you're DJing. So you have the in-ears in, but it has a little microphone so you can hear the room.
And it's also it's a headphone, so it's plugged into your mixer.
Exactly.
So that's kind of crazy.
It's not as bad as having a full earplug. Because I used to do the earplug, still do, with the headphones on top.
Yeah.
But I'm cranking.
Yeah.
So then I tried all, like for years, dude, like this, and I'm not even done. Like I've found all kinds of technologies out there, all kinds of companies. I'm sponsored by 2 of them, literally, and they'll send me stuff for free just to like wear them and whatever. And there's a couple of brands out there, I'll send you some links, but there's some couple of brands out there that have the in-ear monitor, right? You have your normal plugs, custom or not, there's 2 different versions. On top of those, there's a little filter that allows the sound to come in while you're mixing. So it gives you like, I don't know how many dBs, but it gives you some sort of dB coming in so you can hear the room, because that's the problem, because you can't hear the room, right? That's to backtrack. That's why most DJs don't wear plugs is because you can't hear the room, which is seeing the room is one thing, but hearing the room is a whole other thing, right? Yeah. But if you get these things, it gives you a little bit of the room, and it takes away all that sounds, which is the worst for your ears, right? First, that's what goes. The high end goes first, right?
Yeah.
So if you can reduce that and put those in your ear, and then you're lowering your mix, it's not perfect, but it's the closest solution that I found, at least personally.
Yeah, I should do it because my hearing is definitely not great.
Yeah, West Tone Audio has them, and then ACS Custom has them.
Yeah,
I'll send you some links.
I wonder if even if you had the ear plugs in and you're cranking the monitors loud enough to where you're like, okay, I can hear what I'm doing. Is that just as bad as not having earplugs in and just leaving the monitors lower?
I forgot the chart. There's a chart out there.
Yeah,
it's like some scientist's name, whatever, right? I literally have it hanging in my studio. What happens is that the loudness at certain volumes is what messes you up. So you can hear a loud bang, right? It could kind of make your ears ring. It goes away. The constant loudness over 15, 30 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, your tolerance in your ears goes down. So the more time you're spending in a loud environment, the tolerance is going down. So even if your plug's in after an hour of loud monitoring, because you have 3 or 4 hours set, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
At hour 1 or 2, you might as well just take the earplugs out. It's almost the same. I mean, it's still better without, because you won't have as much ringing within the night, but it's still doing damage.
Yeah.
Because it's the length of the time you're spending.
It's tough. And that loud music though it's got some sort of like endorphin releasing thing to it. It's got some sort of like drug like effect.
Yeah.
Because when I did Sober October last year, that was like one of the only things I could really get. I think what it is like the way that alcohol suppresses all your extra thoughts in your head and just kind of lets you be an idiot and not have so much going on in your head. I feel like the loud music does that as well. Like if it's loud enough, you can't even hear yourself think. You're just
music.
That's all that you can do.
100%. It's like part of DJing. Like, monitors need to be loud.
Yeah.
I need to hear it.
I need to be in it. I need to hear like if I cut the bass of one track and add a little bit of reverb, I need to visualize that like reverb filling that space around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mix better at loud volumes.
Yeah.
Like the monitors, if they're not loud, I can do it in my headphones and it's fine, or I can kind of hear the room. It's not as like you said, you're not in it, and I'm not mixing as good without the monitors being that loud.
Yeah.
And I'm very cognizant of it. I go to the YouTube booth with a lot of the guys, and I can't even see of how loud it is. So it's so loud. My vision is blurry. I'm like, I gotta get out of this booth, even with my earplugs in.
Yeah.
People crank, man. It's like really like terrible level, but I get that on a normal level, right? Like it's part of DJing. Like you get in, it feels like it puts this like coat around you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow, I'm in this music bubble. I can hear everything. Look at this flawless transition. Look at that person dancing to that transition. And it just builds and like, oh, louder.
You're really engulfed in it.
Yeah.
It's like a wave that it's like, if you're surfing inside of that fucking, what's that wave that like comes over you, they call it.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Like this. Like a lot of those shots where the surfer's like in the middle of the water.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
That's cool.
Or maybe I'm just getting too high before I DJ. I don't know.
Both work.
Yeah. Yeah. But where are we at? We got like an hour 20. Damn, I see I've been doing these pods too long. I don't even need a clock.
That's good. How long do you usually need to record?
Oh, we usually do about an hour. Something like that.
Do you have enough meat and potato or what?
Oh, yeah. It's been great.
Cool.
It's been great. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah. Who you got?
Whatever you want. Just name them. I'll tell you.
You should talk shit about Chris P. from Bodega West Loop.
Chris P. I like Chris P. He's nice.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
You're supposed to talk shit about him.
No. He'll beat me up, man. He's like...
He is one of the best looking guys I've ever seen. I don't know how functional that body of his is, but it looks good.
I tell him all the time, the only thing you got for yourself is your looks, man.
Yeah.
Just talked to him today, actually.
Nice.
Great people.
Yeah, I like that guy. But no, yeah. Do you have anything else? You got any parting words?
Parting words.
And something inspirational, maybe? What's like your favorite quote? Like a cheesy quote that's like, it's cheesy, but then also it just hits so hard sometimes,
You don't want this one.
I want it. Give it
It's
to me.
really cheesy.
Give it to
I
me.
came up with it, actually.
You created
I'm really proud of it.
Okay.
Help me, help you, help us.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
There's different variances out there. You haven't heard this one before, have you?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, help me, help you, help us. So if you give me the information that I need or support me in what I need, I will for sure support you back, and all of us will win at the end.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
it goes back to our conversation with venues, if they want their own artists, the artists giving us feedback on the venues, the whole 9 yards. If everybody communicates, they help us to help them, for all of us to succeed. Make sense?
That's what it's all about. I like that.
I can write it down, autograph it if you need, whatever.
I think we should have a board or something. Maybe I'll get a board where everyone could write their thing down. I like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that, you just need, you're walking around, you don't really know what's going on. You got too much on your plate and it might catch your eye and you might be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cheesiest thing that I say kind of frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the only cheesy thing I got.
That's all the cheese, huh?
Yeah. What do you got? You got one for me?
My favorite is nothing changes if nothing changes. Because it's the simplest thing in the entire world, but it hits so hard. It's so true.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of reminds me of like never say never. That's what that sounds like.
Never say never, yeah.
So tell me about your nothing changes though.
What like explain
What inspired? Yeah, what inspired it? What?
well, my dad said it to me for sure, but I don't know. It just hit so hard. I was probably telling him about a hardship that I was having, or something that wasn't going right, or how I would like to do this instead of doing that, whatever it was. And he said, "Nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you don't change what you're doing,
Right.
it's not going to change."
That's awesome.
It starts with you,
Right. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a good one. Simple, easy.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming by, taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot going on.
This is priority, man. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
If you said 8 a.m., I would have been here, but I know you wouldn't have said that.
Thank you. I would not have said that unless I was already up from the night before. Unless we were
just
doing
all the way through.
a late night pod, yeah.
I appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for having me. I mean, hopefully it was up to spec, but
It was good. I mean, I got to know you better for sure, and definitely more about the treble monsters, which I feel like has been something that I've heard for a long time, but I've never spoken to you about it and gotten like all of the information. You know what I mean? It's always just been like, oh yeah, that's KICE and he's like doing his thing. But I've never really sat with you and gotten soaked it all in. And I like it. It's inspiring. It's good. I'm talking to people I feel like right now who are in the game but doing other things than just DJing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm looking for that. So I'm looking for inspiration. I'm looking for leadership. I'm looking for, all that.
That's cool, man. I mean, you're just as good as your circle, right? And having the people that you told me you had in here before, and all great people, man.
Yeah.
So they're all doing things in the industry and the realm that they know, but on a whole nother level.
Exactly.
And it's beneficial for everybody involved, and it's fruitful for them. And I hope you find your genuinely, I do hope you find your new chapter, like you said. And it's like some dope shit, man. And I'm always here to, off camera or not, like genuinely, if you ever need any help with anything, just let me know.
Yeah.
If I have anything that comes up, I'll send it your way. Just in general, you never know. Who you meet, who you run into, what gig you do, and all of a sudden this next thing comes from it, and you get this idea. And you'll just know, like a lot of times you'll see, like literally in the movies and all this shit, you'll just know, like, oh, when the time is right, Like for me, when I started Trail Monsters, I was like, oh, the time is right, but it's not. And then boom, layoff happened. I was like, this is it. It was a sign, right?
Yep.
It'll come, man.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.